United Way is an international organization. Let us come alongside you and help us, help our community even more.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I'm here today with Christine Hess, the Executive Director of United Way. Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. You are, I'm going to say you're still kind of brand new at United Way.
I am. I just hit my 2-year mark at the end of February.
Oh my gosh. I thought it had only been 1 year.
Nope, 2 years.
That's exciting. What made you want to dive into that role?
When I started working for the YMCA and I got out and knowing our community a lot more, I really started having a heart for our community. And when the position came up, it was offered to me several different times. And I finally decided, actually at the urging of my husband, who said, you need to take this job, finally decided to fill out the paperwork and interviewed. And they decided I was a good fit for it. So here we are 2 years later.
That's awesome. When you said you were learning more about the community in the YMCA, did you learn more about the United Way during that time?
No, actually, It wasn't a whole lot about the United Way. It was about the people in our community. I was doing the events and things like that for the YMCA. So I was out in the community getting to know other businesses, but getting to really know the people and understanding some of the deserts that we have here as far as like childcare desert and food desert. So the opportunity to have a bigger impact, I guess, in a different position really appealed to me. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really enjoy about being at the United Way is I feel like I'm being able to really affect some change for our community and for the people that live here.
Why don't you explain a little bit about what the United Way does?
So we're kind of unique in the fact that we don't have one thing that we actually raise money for. We actually fundraise for other nonprofits in our community. So when you donate to the United Way, you're not just funding one organization, one product, one program, but you're helping multiple. So we have 15 agencies that we support right now. We're going to an open grant process in a couple of years to where it's going to be open to all nonprofits that'll be able to apply for money, whether they're just getting started, whether they're established. If they align with the United Way's mission, then we want to be able to come alongside them and help them grow, because when it boils down to it, it's about collaboration. It's about our community. It's not about individual organizations. It's what we can do collaboratively for our community. And that's,
you know, that collaboration is important to me, and I talk about that a lot. But tell me some of the agencies you do collaborate with.
Right now, we're working with the YMCA is one of our collaborations, Klamath Kids Center. Both of those are pivotal right now as far as the preschool programs that we have, because there's so many working families out there that need good places for their kids. The Food Bank, the Salvation Army are two of the other ones. Lutheran Community Services, Spokes Unlimited, which their program I really like because they help developmentally disabled adults work towards getting out on their own. So that's another organization, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
I'm sure they're online. Like if somebody wanted to see the list, there's a way for them to access that information.
Yeah, all of our agencies are on our website. So you can go onto our website and see everything that we do, all of our events, everything as far as our programming that we're doing right now, our calls to action, videos that have been made over the last year of being out in the community. And
yeah, I'm assuming people make donations.
Correct.
Anyway, when they do that, do they get to say, this is where I want it to go? Or does it just get divvied up amongst all those organizations?
Both, actually. So we're in the process of revamping how we're doing things right now. So they can actually tell us that they want their donation to go to a specific organization. They can put it into our general fund. In that case, we can divvy it up over different organizations. We also have a new disaster relief program that we are starting to help when we have a disaster in our area for jumping in when something happens, but with the long-term recovery of that. So they have those options that they can tell us where they want their designations to go. The exciting thing is when they make their donation local, 99 cents out of every dollar stays local.
Along those lines, so 99 cents per dollar kept here locally, how much of that is given to those organizations?
Half of our campaign for this year is actually going out to organizations. We have a $600,000 campaign and we're trying to raise this year, and $290,000 of that is going back out to organizations. The rest of it is operating expenses and things that we need to keep going.
So there's these organizations, and I'm assuming they can accept some donations on their own. What is the benefit of giving to United Way and then it going out to the organizations versus just going to that organization?
When you give to the United Way, we have the opportunity to help more than just one organization. So when we go to our open grant process, we're just putting the request for funding out there that all of these nonprofits can now apply to, so that if we're not funding one at this point in time, if there's somebody who wants to start a nonprofit out there that aligns with what our calls to action are, then we could help get started. We get to help so many different. We don't have to help just that one. So yeah, is it easier to do that? But then there's people that want to give to several organizations. You're only writing one check versus I want to do the food bank. I want to do Salvation Army. I want to do the YMCA. Well, you can write one check to us and we can now send that out for you. So
when I asked you about collaboration, you mentioned some of the organizations that you help support in one way or the other. Are there other collaborations that are important to you or United Way?
One of the new things that I'm trying to kind of get going right now is what we're calling it a mixer, a quarterly mixer with all of the CEOs, executive directors of our nonprofits in town to get to know each other. We all have the same goal, which is to help our community. We all fundraise for the same money, but we can collaboratively come together and make a bigger impact. So it's one of the things I'd like to do. We did have one mixer, and it was so neat to see some of the executive directors come out, some of them that I had never even met. And there's a lot of new ones, like, I'm relatively new in this role. So getting people together and saying, hey, we have a common goal. Klamath has to be our common goal.
I hear a lot of complaint about silos, and getting together helps that. It helps, I think, with the duplication of efforts when you find out, someone else is already working on that, and that frees up your resources. Do you find that?
We don't want to duplicate what somebody else is out there doing. I mean, if you have this program and you're rocking it, how can I come alongside of you and help you? I don't want to take over it. And I think getting us all together and talking about things like that is just going to better our community. It's going to build what we already have, and it's going to improve what we already know is great. So why not make it greater?
Yeah. From your experience with this nonprofit, with United Way and nonprofits in general, what do you think the top 3 needs in our community are?
Definitely childcare. We definitely still have a food deficit that is happening. And I really think right now there's just a lot of people out there that need some basic general help. And there are some organizations that are helping those people, which is great. But why not have a couple of more that can come alongside and do even more for people that are struggling? We get phone calls all the time of, I just need, help with my rent, or I need help with my electric bill, or I just need some help with food. And what I have to do right now and my staff is tell them, well, you need to call this number, you need to call this number, instead of being able to go, oh, hey, great. Can you come down to the office? We can help you out a little bit with that. The other thing that can get really frustrating is when I send them to another agency that I know has no funding for that program, because as we all know, at the beginning of this year, all of our funding is gone. And so a lot of funding for emergency food and shelter is gone. A lot of things through FEMA is gone. So we have to come together as a community to figure out now, how are we going to do this working together? And it's not ever my goal to try to take over a program that somebody else is doing, but why not let us come alongside you and help you? So that's really what we're working on right now. Is we have that ability. United Way is an international organization. Let us come alongside you and help us, help our community even more. I can't tell you how many times people go, we have a United Way here. We do have a United Way here. Where's your building at? Same one we've been in since 2000, So I've been trying to, over the last couple of years, really get our name back out there and let people know that we are your United Way. It's not my United Way. It's your United Way. What do you want us to do for the community? Mm-hmm. And I've actually had a couple organizations reach out and ask for help, which is exactly what I want to do. I would love to be the hub of our community because we're there for our community. So I love it when people come to me and say, I have this great idea. Is there any way you can help us with it? And I'm like, well, let's see what we can do. Let's get some stuff going. So there is actually a couple of those in the works right now, which is pretty exciting.
That is exciting. You mentioned that you've been in the same location since 2000. Is that also when United Way started here?
United Way was actually started in the Klamath Basin in 1945.
Long time.
So they actually had a building on Main Street, which I believe is Klamath Commons now.
Okay.
So they were down there. But yeah, we've actually been in Klamath Falls since 1945.
That's a long time. I don't think a lot of people would realize that. I do. I'll commend you. I have noticed more presence and awareness of United Way. I think the people that were supportive of it for a long time definitely knew about it. It's definitely had a presence is what I'm trying to get at. But I think you have been doing a lot more on social media. And I guess that's where I'd say is primarily I'm seeing a lot more there. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Talking about funding and kind of what's happening in the current administration, not asking for your opinion on any of that per se, but what are some of the strategies that United Way is going to use this year to get through it?
Well, that's funny. We are actually working on that right now. My board met yesterday to try to get some ideas on, okay, how can we get through this? Because everybody understands the cost of everything has just gone crazy right now. People don't want to donate, which I understand. It's tough out there. I mean, we all struggle. So one thing that I'm doing right now is I've got my staff doing different trainings and such to try to figure out, okay, this area is not working for us anywhere. So now how else can we do this? One of the things that we've done is gone from one event a year. We actually have 4 scheduled for this upcoming year. So really trying to get back out there, just letting people know what we're doing.
If a picture says 1,000 words, imagine the story. 24 frames a second can tell about your business. 40 Deuce Films.
I think there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think I think that's a reasonable place for a lot of nonprofits to be right now. Actually, our world feels a little bit that way. Like there's some uncertainty what's going to
Yep, it's a little wonky out there right now.
It is a little wonky out there. That is for sure. I think this is your first year or your first role as an executive director.
It is.
What has been like one of the most eye-opening things about being an executive director?
It's kind of everything because you're, especially in a small office where, I started out with a full-time position and a part-time position, you're doing everything. When you have a job, you go to work, they tell you what to do, you do your job, you clock in, you clock out. Running a nonprofit is way different. And I had never experienced that. My background is in escrow. So right out of high school, I had a full-time job in a title insurance company and I became an escrow officer at a young age. And so I have that, number thing in the back of my mind. But nonprofit is so different than for-profit that there's a lot to learn. And it's not an easy task to take on if you don't have the people helping you. And I've had some really good mentors. You're one of my mentors, I have to say. But it's a challenge. But the reward of it, seeing people when you help them, that's what makes the difference. We had all that snowmageddon or whatever people are calling it. We were able to jump in and get food and clothing and gas and propane to people up on Bly Mountain who were not able to get out. We were actually able to find a gentleman with a snowcat, and he worked with us exclusively to be able to get these people what they needed. And to go to the shelter and to talk to some of those folks that were there, that their homes were, inaccessible, destroyed or whatever, and to be able to help them and see them get through that's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would say to anybody that wants to get into nonprofit work, you definitely have to have a heart for it.
Absolutely.
You have to have a compassion for what you're doing, because it's definitely not for the pay and not for the lack of hours. You know that as well as I do.
I do.
It's a lot of hours, but the payoff is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people. And that's what you have to think about. It's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less if anybody remembers my name, as long as they know what we're doing for our community.
Yeah. One of the things with this podcast we're doing is, working to inspire people to maybe get more involved if that's in their hearts, realize some of the cool things that we have going on. And one of the areas is board service, right? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned surrounding yourself by good people and mentors. What do you think a good executive director, or what do you think an executive director, not a good one, although a good one will do this, but how do you think an executive director should approach board development and recruitment particularly?
That is actually something I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
I have been able to go to a couple of conferences learning about board governance and different things like that. One of the things that was really nice when I came onto the United Way is they have got a really good matrix that they use to try to get their board members. And so I'm able to look at that and go, okay, we have so many people from this area. Now it's time to try to get somebody from a different background or, something different. So you're not putting the same organizations on there, because I think we need that diversity. You have to have the different ideas and the different people and the different, it takes all of us. So board governance it's a different thing. It's a little bit different. You used to work for one person and now you work for 15 or 16 people. Mm-hmm. So it's a little different.
It is a little different. And I don't think people always realize it. And then your boss changes every year because it's the president or the chair or whatever they're called in the organization. I always think one of the things I learned early on as an executive director was how important it was to recruit for the skills or experience you're lacking. Right? Like there's things, not all of us are good at all things, or we don't have the experience. So looking at what skills or experience am I missing in this? If I needed to make a good decision, who do I need in this room? It's a little hard to look at yourself as what am I lacking?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So tell me, so you're kind of brand new into it, 2 years. I'm going to say that's brand new.
It's new.
I still feel new sometimes. But brand new, what are a couple of things you're most excited for over, like, let's say the next 3 years?
One of our things is getting into the disaster response, recovery, and readiness programs. It's a process. It's going to take us a while, but that's one of the things I'm really passionate about. And I'm hoping over the next couple of years, we'll really be able to get this program up and running, because we have a disaster every year. I hate to say that, but it happens. It's either wildfire or the snow or something. And those people need to be prepared for it, which teaching workshops, helping people know how to have a 2-week ready kit, in case they have to be evacuated or whatever. Having those things, having that preparedness thought is really good. How much food am I going to need if I get evacuated, or what's going to happen if we get cut off from, Bend and Medford and Lakeview? I mean, let's face it, if something big happens, we're cut off. Where can I go for resources? What can I do? And then jumping in at that pivotal time, having a group of organizations, which they call COAD, which is Community Organizations Active in Disaster, having that group of people being able to jump in and help with evacuations of pets or spiritual help or, mental help or anything like that. People don't realize that when a disaster hits, it doesn't just affect your physical well-being. It affects all of you. And then you have the long-term component of it, which, okay, now my house is destroyed. Now what do I do? And that's where, that long-term aspect comes in to help people with our case managers and such, going, okay, how can we get these people with the basic needs so they can get back on their feet? So that is one program that I'm really passionate about, that I'm really hoping that we'll be able to really fine tune over the next couple of years and bring in. But healthy community is also another one of our calls to action that I'm really passionate about. And if you think about how community resilience and healthy community works together, a healthy community is resilient, a resilient community is healthy. Mm-hmm. So those are two of our top ones. And then one of our other calls to action, of course, is financial securities and financial stability. So they're, again, helping these people. How can we help these people make it from paycheck to paycheck? Are there programs out there that we could possibly sponsor or help bring on or whatever to educate people? I know there's an organization in town right now that is bringing this really good program to our area, and it's something that I think United Way could really get behind, because it helps get people out of poverty, teach them how to stay out of poverty. This is all stuff we need here. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of a couple things I'm a little passionate about.
What's something that we haven't talked about that people might be surprised to know about United Way?
I would just say right now for people just to kind of keep their eye out, because we are up and coming. Mm-hmm. People know United Way as a whole, but they don't know United Way, the Klamath Basin necessarily. And we're trying to change that. We've gone from 1.5 staff to 3 full-time and 1 part-time staff right now. And so we're out there. We have our barn dance coming up later in this year, and that's always a fun thing. And we started it last year, and we've already got people on a waiting list that want to do it this year. So we're trying to find new and innovative ways to educate our community, fundraise, and help our community. So it's because we have to do different things. People are always saying, we do the same things here all the time. Well, okay, we'll try to figure out something different to do then. So
that's awesome. You mentioned 4 events. So I know you do a golf tournament, and you mentioned the barn dance. What are the other 2?
We are putting on 2 5Ks this year. So we're calling it a bubble run, because there again, we don't want to take away. K-Car does an awesome color run, and we don't want to take away. So we're kind of working with them on, okay, you guys do this, we're going to do this over here. But at the end of it, 541 Jump is involved, and he has foam machines, and we're having a dance foam party at the end of it.
Okay.
Which is going to be a lot of fun. But how we want to structure this is a challenge. So we're going to do this one in June, and then a few months later, we're going to do another one. And we want to challenge people to better their times, to get healthy during that time. So we want to structure it as a challenge.
I think somebody needs to do a 5K where zombies chase you.
Now
do a Halloween version where people jump out of the bushes and scare you and zombies. Do that.
Okay, let's see.
Because I don't want to do it myself.
I think that'd be a blast to do.
I think it sounds really fun.
Yeah, we should do something like that.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today, and thanks for sharing about United Way. 3 fun questions at the end. If I gave you $250,000, but you had to use it by the end of the day to make a difference, what would you do with it?
I would actually put it right back into our community. I mean, that's where it's needed.
Tell me about one of your role models.
It's kind of funny because growing up, I didn't really have any role models. But since I have been doing what I'm doing in Klamath, as far as a worldly, of course, my role model is Christ. I mean, because I'm a believer in everything, and I can't do anything without him. But one of the first people I really started meeting was you. And I have to say that. Natalie Parker has become another one that is just, I look up to. A lot of the women I'm in with Seroptimist. I mean, I can't tell you how many great women leaders there are that are in Seroptimist, but just getting to know a lot of our female executives around here. There's a lot of strong women here, and it's been really good for me to watch them and to get to know them and be around that. So
I would agree with the number of strong women leaders we have here. I love it. All about it.
We're up and coming. Watch out, guys.
Watch out. And the last one, tell me something on your bucket list.
Okay. This is I do not like water. So one of the things on my bucket list is to go deep sea fishing. And I'm not saying that just because I'm sitting here with you, but I'm terrified of the ocean. And so that is one of the things that I've been talking to my husband about, doing that. I really have no desire to jump out of a plane or anything. So, yeah.
I love it when people's bucket lists include something that terrifies them, regardless of what it is.
Yeah. I am terrified of that. And I'm actually terrified of small spaces. So like I won't go into a cave or anything, which sounds
So
weird.
you don't want to be on a tiny boat in the ocean either.
Not necessarily, but at the same time, you only live once, right?
You only live
So
once.
I would have to say that would be my top thing right now,
Nice.
to try to do something like that. So we'll see.
Well, thank you for your time today. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to 40 Deuce Films.